have you ever had a really long day at work and by the time you get home, you realize, dang, I never took the chicken out. I, don't have the time or the energy to make my family a meal tonight. We're probably just going to have pizza. And you start to think to yourself, I wish I could get into meal prep. I wish I would have just taken the time to pre-marinate the chicken and pre-cut up the peppers and the onions. And if I'm making you hungry right now, I hope that you're listening to this during lunchtime. But how much of a difference would your night be, or would this preparation make to your night if you would have just taken the time to take out the chicken the night before, prep it so that once you got home, it was ready to go. It was just throw it in the oven or throw it on the, saucepan, and you're good to go, right? How much of a major difference would it have made if you would have been prepared? Well, today I'm going to be talking to you about why and how your organization needs to prepare before reaching out to funders. We are starting at the most basic of basics here, guys. And it's because I really do feel like being prepared makes such a huge difference if you can just take the steps early on. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. I'm excited to get into the episode.
Welcome to Nothing for Granted, a space for aspiring grant writers who are tired of feeling undervalued, underpaid, and overworked by your understaffed nonprofit. Hi, my name is Eliana, grant writer, grants consultant, and freelance coach for Christian entrepreneurs. I live for long-distance cycling rides, iced chai lattes, and outdoor adventures with my 4 little beasts. I teach you grant writing strategies and freelance tactics that set you apart when launching and scaling your Holy Spirit-led business. I too was paralyzed by those questions. So paralyzed, in fact, that I launched my business twice, thinking maybe I should take another training because, underqualification. Well, 5 certifications on my wall later. But what if I told you that with a little basic knowledge and next to no experience, you too could launch a successful and sustainable freelance grant consulting business while pursuing that degree, raising littles, and maybe getting a tan on the beach? Permission granted to stop feeling guilty over leaving behind that organization that has you stagnant and to confidently and boldly step into the most elevated version of who you were created to be. You're here for encouragement, accountability, and a slight tough love kick in the butt. No goals, just standards. Lace up your combat boots, tighten up that ponytail. Girl, it's time to get to work.
If you haven't heard, next Thursday, that's March the 24th at 10 a.m., at the Funding and Freelance Facebook group page, I am going to be hosting a totally free workshop all about how to get you fund ready. Okay, so it's called the Funding Readiness Workshop. Now, what this workshop is all about is exactly what we're talking about today, just at a much more in-depth level. And I'm going to be walking you through what documents do you need to have. I'm going to be walking you through some key identifiers for blind spots that you may have in your business and maybe things that you haven't thought about before that you should be implementing before you even make that first pitch, before you even submit that first proposal. So you can join me next Wednesday, March the 24th, 10 a.m. at bit.ly/funding and freelance. Of course, the information will be down below in the show notes. I look forward to seeing you guys there. It's going to be jam-packed, and I do have a freebie that goes along with it so you guys can follow along. And if you're a freelancer, you can utilize this towards your clients. If you're a founder, you could use it for your own business or nonprofit. So I'll see you next Thursday. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first reason that you absolutely need to take the time to prepare before sending out your first pitch is because you're going to save time on your application process. You're going to save time in back and forth between your team, funders, partners. Why? Well, because you already have all the information, right? It's like no brainer. If they ask for something, you already have it on hand. So that's the number one reason is you want to save time. We're all about being efficient here, right? And whatever we can do to shave a couple of hours out of our application process, that's exactly what we should be doing, because that energy can be put into making exceptional applications and proposals and letters of interest and all the things, right? Our energy could be better used in other parts of our proposal. Number two is because you increase your chances of actually securing the funding. Okay, it's just a no-brainer. Once again, if you are prepared, then that is going to show through your presentation. It's just, that's something that we talk to our kids about all the time, right? We are raising our children to be prepared for these opportunities early on, because what do we say to them? The earlier we can get them ready, the earlier we can groom them, well, the better of a chance that they've got. Why wouldn't you apply that same mindset to your business, right? The earlier I can take the time to get all my documents together, the earlier I can take the time to really understand, who this funder is and what they're about, then the better of a chance I'm going to have of getting the grant. If I already have all my partnership letters together, guess what? I don't have to wait around for them for 2 weeks. I've already got them, and all I have to do is adjust as necessary, right? You're increasing your chances of getting the grants. This piece is especially for those of you that love applying to grants at the very last minute. If this is you and you know it is and you're feeling convicted, I'm calling you out right now, but this is why you need to take the necessary steps early on. Take the time to gather your documents, take the time to gather your data, and that way it's just so much easier for you to finish up that grant that you've been procrastinating or the grant that you found super last minute, okay? The third reason that your organization needs to prepare early on is because you're going to identify those blind spots early, okay? And this is really important. There's nothing worse than calling the funder and saying, hey, why, really what was the deciding factor as to why I didn't get through this round of funding? Oh, well, your measurable outcomes, they just weren't there. Or, you really didn't speak to who your target audience was. You were too general. These are blind spots that if you knew early on, you could address them, right? You could have done some market research on exactly who is your target. You can conduct some pre and post surveys, right? To make sure that the transformation is there. And if not, then you can pivot your program before you submit for funding. These blind spots are ones that most people do not know about. And so by knowing exactly what you have to look out for, you can say, wow, I got to circle that on the checklist. I didn't even think of that. I missed that. I forgot to put that in, etc. So you can catch these blind spots really early on. So now let's talk about how do you do this? How do you get ready? Well, number one, you can look at past grants and you can analyze what information took you the longest to complete, or what sector took the longest to get together, right? What documents did it take you the longest to get together? What data took you the longest to put together? Just going back to work that you have already done and then identifying, yeah, I could have done this better. Maybe I should have had that on hand. I should have pulled better statistics beforehand. Those are, you can go back and do that and just kind of analyze your own work. Or And you can attend the Funding Readiness Workshop with me March the 24th, 10 a.m. And that's, again, at the Funding and Freelance community page. This is just going to be a really great opportunity for you to be with me virtually. I like to say quote unquote in person, but at least, we can e-meet. And at the end, I am going to have a Q&A. So any questions that you have, you'll be able to get them addressed at that point. So if you want to get a head start, you can start looking through your past grants and analyzing, okay, this is where maybe I missed out. This is what I maybe could have done better. And you can bring your questions to the workshop this upcoming week. Visionary, that is all I have for you. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. We are having some spectacular conversations on there as well. That's at Buffalo Ambition Co. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and I will catch you on Friday.
Before you go, don't forget to rate, review, and share this podcast with a friend that needs to hear it. See you in next week's episode.